अस्सलाम वालेकुम फ़ाइका, क्या हाल है आपके?
वालेकुम अस्सलाम। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह सर। सर आप बताएं।
All good from my side. So, welcome to the third week of this weekly AMA on Web3 and blockchain technologies. And I think we should wait. I think people are just joining in. So, आप बताएं कैसा गुजरा आपका हफ्ता?
सर ये तो बहुत बिजी था क्योंकि हमारे मिड्स चल रहे हैं और उसकी वजह से ना तैयारी में लगे हुए थे।
राइट। तो कुछ थोड़ा सा मुझे डिटेल्स बताएं ना, आप अभी क्या पढ़ रही हैं?
अभी हम कंप्यूटर साइंस की स्टूडेंट हूँ तो हमारा फोर्थ सेमेस्टर चल रहा है।
ओके।
तो उसमें ज़्यादातर फोकस डेटा स्ट्रक्चर्स पे है अभी।
राइट
और उसके अलावा न्यूमेरिकल कंप्यूटिंग पढ़ रहे हैं
राइट।
और सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग एंड प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजमेंट।
Okay, that's great. So, have you worked on any projects till now?
नो सर, क्योंकि सर ने अभी हमें प्रोजेक्ट दिया है क्योंकि
Mm-hmm.
उसकी सबमिशन पेपर के बाद है तो अभी तक हमने स्टार्ट नहीं किया।
Right. That's great to know. So, like, what do you know about like blockchain के बारे में कितना आपको आइडिया है कि इसमें अगर ये जानना चाहूँ?
सर अभी तो सिर्फ इतना पता है कि इट्स अ कम्युनिटी जहाँ लोग एक दूसरे के साथ कनेक्टेड होते हैं और अगर वायरस थ्रेट्स या कोई साइबर क्राइम होता है तो सबको पता चल जाता है तो वो ज़्यादा सेफ्टी रहती है।
Yeah, exactly. That's like more secure sort of a thing, and it's the basic thing about this is the security point of view because like people are really getting hacked in the Web2 scenario because they have to give out a lot of data and which can be used like for phishing attacks and anything else. So blockchain is a technology which is secure, which is more transparent, and which is basically cryptographically connected. And like that is one of the main security points here because cryptographically अगर हम कनेक्ट करते हैं चीज़ों को तो it is not possible कि they can just unwind the system and go back and see what's at the back. तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा फीचर है बेसिकली इसका। एंड समर, हाउ आर यू?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह सर, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आप बताएं कैसे हैं?
अल्लाह का शुक्र है, सब ठीक ठाक। सो वी जस्ट वेटिंग लाइक मोर पीपल टू जॉइन इन सो दैट वी कैन स्टार्ट द सेशन। सो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह लाइक वी गॉट टू ऑफ यू, समर एंड फाइका। समर, आप अभी कौन से मतलब यूनिवर्सिटी में कौन से उसमें हैं, कौन से सेमेस्टर में हैं?
मैं फोर्थ सेमेस्टर में हूँ। मैं आके सॉरी हम सब साथ हैं।
ओके माशाल्लाह, आप भी फोर्थ सेमेस्टर में ही हैं। इट्स गोइंग
जी
टू एंड वेरी सून दैट मीन्स।
जी।
Okay, that's great. Okay, Akib Mehtab is also here. Hi Akib, how are you?
Hi sir, Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
Right, let me just put on my. I'm just trying to stream it on YouTube today directly. Let's see how it goes. So, I think we should start this session today. So, we have like some of the questions posted. Let me just put on my uh, screen so that I can see what questions were there and we can try to address it one by one. ठीक है ना? So, सबसे पहला और सबसे बेसिक क्वेश्चन जो आई थिंक जो आता है हमारे पास वो यही आता है कि व्हाट इज़ वेब3 एज अ होल एंड व्हाट इज़ ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजीज. So, to just give you a basic understanding of what is blockchain technologies or what is Web3 first. So, if I just break it down to make it as simple as possible, Web 1 was the place where the corporates shared their data on the internet, and we were not able to communicate because like we didn't have that control over the resources where we can interact, and it was basically a one-way information system where whatever is happening in the company or whatever is happening in any big corporate, something like that, so they used to share all that things on the internet, via internet, to the general public, but we were not able to communicate back to the on the internet via the web. And that was basically the start of the web 1. After that, when web 2 arrived, that was the time when the data transfer became like easy, and we were able to transact, talk to each other basically, and communicate together. Like सिर्फ कंपनीज ही नहीं हमें डेटा प्रोवाइड करते थे, हम भी कंपनी से क्वेश्चन बैक कर लेते थे। लाइक गूगल हो गया, फेसबुक हो गया, इस तरह के बहुत सारी सोशल मीडिया टेक्नोलॉजीज जो है वो लॉन्च हो गई, और उससे बहुत सारा जो टू वे कम्युनिकेशन है दैट रियली डिसरप्टेड, दैट वाज रियली अ रेवोल्यूशन, बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ अ सडन बहुत सारी कम्युनिटीज़ बनना शुरू हो गई, लोगों के रिव्यूज़ आना शुरू हो गए, लोग एक दूसरे से बातचीत करना शुरू करते थे। वी यूज्ड टू वी स्टिल शेयर लाइक यूट्यूब वीडियोज़, व्हाट्सएप पे, या आप कह लो फेसबुक के ऊपर हम डिफरेंट डिफरेंट तरीके से कम्युनिकेट कर पाते हैं, बट देयर वाज नो सच थिंग एज transactions going on till then. It was only information. So get in these guys. Okay. So it was like web 2 में होता था कि information was a two-way flow. The big corporates who used to have their websites can communicate with us while we can communicate back, and we can make our own websites, and all these things were possible via web 2. But then all of a sudden this new terminology started appearing, that is web 3. And in this technology what happens is like other than the information, we are like also able to, you can say, transfer value, transfer assets, transfer digital assets. So this really made the big change, because what happened is like in web 2, when we used to transact, what used to happen was we used to have a bank in the middle always, so that we can enter our credit cards and everything, and they used to process everything and send it to the third party bank. And when the transaction was confirmed, then only the seller used to like sell the products to us. तो पहले एक थर्ड पार्टी की रिक्वायरमेंट होती थी वेब 2 के अंदर, जिसको हम बैंक्स कह लें या पेपैल कह लें, समथिंग लाइक दैट, और उसके बगैर आप ट्रांजैक्शन नहीं कर पाते थे, ठीक है ना, बिकॉज देयर वर लॉट ऑफ ट्रस्ट इश्यूज। सो ऑब्वियसली अगर मैं किसी कंपनी से, किसी वेबसाइट से कोई चीज़ बाय कर रहा हूँ, आई डोंट नो द कंपनी, तो obviously I needed to have a third party which should be validating everything कि this website is secure, and the third party जिससे मैं कुछ चीज़ बाय कर रहा हूँ उसको भी श्योरिटी होती है कि हाँ यार these guys have made the payment and everything, और जब उनके बैंक में पैसे ट्रांसफ़र होते थे तभी वो हमारी जो प्रोडक्ट है, सर्विसेज है, वो आपको पहुँचाते थे। But Web3 has made this major difference, that we don't need a third party. We can transact directly between each other. So one of the question I had was, what is a peer-to-peer system? So the peer-to-peer system is basically between two parties. Like I am a pair and I want to transact, for example, a particular amount to, for example, Shoaib. So Shoaib has its own user, and when we are transacting, we don't need the third party in the middle. So whatever transaction is happening, it is happening between me and Shoaib, and we also don't need to trust each other. Reason being is जो सिस्टम हम बीच में इंटीग्रेट कर रहे हैं, जो ब्लॉकचेन सिस्टम, वो बेसिकली जो ट्रस्ट का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है पूरा, वो खुद अपने ऊपर उठा रहे हैं, ठीक है ना, एंड दैट इज लाइक if I make a transaction, so all my information is very much secured by cryptography, and there is no third party. It goes directly to, for example, Shoaib, and he can validate the transaction, and the transaction can be done. So we don't need a third party in the middle. So that is the biggest, you can say, achievement of the blockchain technologies. And if you want to go and check out further details. So, for example, if you open a white paper of blockchain or of Bitcoin, so you'll come to understand because Bitcoin was the first big use, you can say first use basically, not big, first use of blockchain technologies. And it eliminated the need of the third party, which was required to confirm the transaction and everything. So we just need to send some bitcoins to anyone and they can accept it and they can send it to us and we can accept it and we just don't need any third party. So this was one of the biggest things. Secondly, it was decentralized. Like हम कोई भी सिस्टम में काम करते हैं, like you guys are all from tech industry, so you understand like normally what happens is we have a central body which basically connects everyone. Even like if we have a cloud database, so what happens is we put all the data onto the cloud and all the clients connect to that cloud to access the data and utilize and edit and delete all that data and whatever changes they need to make. So in decentralized system, what happens is we don't need to have a central authority controlling all the data. All the data is now controlled by all the users of that network. For example, if we are using blockchain, so the data is basically is with every node say I mean system. For example, like there are 50,000 laptops which are validating the system, the blockchain system, validating say I mean they are mining the system or they are transacting the system. So all those 50,000 systems have those copies of the data. So this made it much secure because if it's in a centralized environment, if the attacker needs to attack the system, what they can do was they can just simply attack the central authority and the whole system used to get disrupted. And just like we can see nowadays, like आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा हम सुन रहे हैं security के issues and all these things regarding the internet. So what is happening is like things are in the center. If someone attacks the center, the system get disrupted. But in the decentralized system, what is happening is the same data is copied all over to every system which is in that network. So if we have like 50,000 systems in the network, suppose if for any reason why there's like 99.99% chance that they're not going to hack into the system because it's all cryptographically connected and cryptographically locked. But for example, if we say someone just hack into a system and try to force the documents या कोई data को delete करना चाहता है या कोई entry change करना चाहता है, तो the other system में like 49,999 system, they are just going to read that out कि यहाँ पे कोई false game हो रहा है and they are just going to recopy it again on from the data they have. तो वो चेक करते हैं कि यार किसके पास कितने सिस्टम्स के पास ज़्यादा डेटा है. फॉर एग्जांपल लाइक अगर 50,000 सिस्टम्स हैं तो अगर किसी हैकर को अटैक करना है तो उसको अटैक करने के लिए दे नीड टू हैव 25,001 सिस्टम्स, दे नीड टू कंट्रोल दैट, तब जाके वो सिस्टम को हैक कर सकते हैं. अदर देन दैट इट इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल. एंड दिस इज़ द थिंग लाइक व्हाई दिस इज़ सो सिक्योर बिकॉज इट इज़ practically impossible to hack 25,000 systems and economically unviable also, because obviously कोई भी हैकर इतने ज़्यादा सिस्टम्स को अगर हैक करेगा तो उसको फिर obviously इकोनॉमिकली वायबल ही नहीं रहेगा. 25,000 सिस्टम्स को है वो कौन हैक करेगा. ओके, देयर इज अ क्वेश्चन बाय आकिब. So how one can update the data in blockchain? Okay, one thing I want to make sure to everyone, like the data on the blockchain is you can say append only data, which means you cannot basically like delete or edit the data. Once you write any data on it and all the validators confirm it and put that data into the block and confirms the block, and now if that data is connected to the blockchain, now there is no way you can go back and edit or delete that data. So if you want to change the data, you have to create a new block showing all those changes, but anyone can go back and see the previous data as well. For example, like in general system, what is happening is Yeah, sure. We are basically, I think we are recording this, and I need you guys after this webinar, after this weekly meetup, go to the YouTube. I have shared the link. Check out the channel. I've just newly created this channel to put this live streaming on, and just see if it's coming good or not, so that like we can make some improvements and adjustments. Okay. So okay. तो डेटा का सीन बेसिकली ये होता है कि इफ़ वी आर डूइंग एनीथिंग लाइक ऑन a normal network, what is happening is we are putting a data, and we can always, you can say, come back, open that same field again, delete that data, and edit that data. So it makes it easy for everyone to edit the data in a normal circumstance, but you will not be able to see the changes made or the previous data. अगर किसी ने edit कर दिया तो आपको नहीं पता लगेगा कि उससे पहले क्या लिखा हुआ था. But in blockchain, because it is like only one side, you cannot edit and delete, all the previous records are stored. So in this scenario, what happens is you need to create another block so that you can make changes to the blockchain, but you cannot delete the previous entry. For example, आपने कोई एक एंट्री डाल दी जिसके अंदर आपने फॉर एग्जांपल एक 50 बिटकॉइन जो है वो स्वेप को ट्रांसफर किए, then you realize you only had to transfer 25, not 50. So now this is an error. What's going to happen is you have to go back to Shoaib and talk to him personally, and if he agrees, you make another block where Shoaib will refund you 25 blocks, bitcoins. So this is the way this is going to be done. So is it clear for everyone? Akib, Shoaib? Okay. So any other questions? Okay. What is a DeFi? So there was also a question. Yeah, sir. What is DeFi? Iman. Okay. हाँ, आके सारे पहले मैं आपको ही दूंगा, फिर आप सबको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दीजिएगा. तो सारे जो है ना वो बिटकॉइन शोएब को नहीं देने दो यार. शोएब अपनी टीम का मेंबर है यार. वी जस्ट हैव पार्टीज विद शोएब. सो व्हाट आई जस्ट थिंक लाइक what is the DeFi? Okay, now what is happening in the financial world is the biggest use of blockchain is happening in the DeFi industry. So, what is DeFi industry? Basically, it's a financial industry, but it is DeFi. DeFi means it is decentralized. So, normally, what happens is all the online applications we use, financial applications. For example, we use Easy Paisa. For example, we use other banking applications for like बैंकों की अपनी अपनी application होती है, but they are like centrally controlled. So in DeFi, we have this applications which are not controlled by a central authority, rather than it is controlled by a community. So, for example, a lot of people coming together, investing their money in so that they can lend that money out to the people who really need that. But it is done in a fashion which is decentralized because they don't have central authority controlling everything. So they must be having a community which is going to take all the decisions, and they must be having like a voting system for every rule, every policy, or whatever they are going to apply. So what is going to happen is like they come up with a policy decision, and they're going to put it on their platform, and they want everyone to participate like voting. In this way, what is going to happen is the community is going to participate, and it is decentralized. So this is a big move because what happens is normally the big corporates, they run the show in Web 2 environment. Like big banks have their own applications, and they have these financial applications where they are providing service to different customers, but they are controlled by a central entity. So there are benefits of that, as well as there are negative side of that as well. Because if you like look at the benefits, so there's a trust, because you know, for example, if a big bank is at the back of the application, so you feel safe that you know this bank has a very big reserve at the back. It's a very big bank with different you can say branches all across the country and everything. So you get that sense of feeling of relief that it is secure. But on the negative side is that then these banks or these big corporates, they have the total control, and whatever they feed to the clients, they we have to like accept it. For example, all of a sudden, uh, corporate comes up with a policy which is not good for the users, but the users don't have any say in that, so they have to take that kadwa goli, and they like just have to accept it whatever the company says. So there's no other way around it. They have to obey to the company. Otherwise, they will not be able to use the services. But in decentralized, the power lies in the hands of the community. So whatever decisions are taken by the community. So this is the biggest difference. Though we don't like concentrate the power into a single entity, and that is what basically this blockchain technology is providing. It is providing a new way of using internet which is decentralized. So in like web 2 environment, for example, if we take Facebook, it is such a big organization now. They have somewhere around like 3.5 billion users, and if we talk about online users average, they must be having 2.5 billion users online on a daily basis. So all the data these 2.5 billion people are sharing is stored at like a centralized location which must be owned by the Facebook. Now we must be remembering the last news we were getting, like Facebook sold some of the data to their clients and all these things, which was I think not a good ethics, because obviously they were not allowed to use the user data, but they did. And this goes on and on. This list is very big. Like Google also did this. Many other companies, what they do is they take the data and they sell the data, because data itself is a commodity, it's an asset. So what is happening now is the in Web3 technologies, we control the data. So it's like my data, I control it, and I have the right for it to utilize everything. And we can like it depends on us of like what data we want to share or we don't want to share. So it's like that. So we have the control back. Okay, we have a question from Faria. Is there a hierarchy within the community, or does everyone has equal power? For example, within a company, major stakeholders have more control. It's similar within the community too. Okay, very good, very good, and very relevant question. So the answer for this is going to be like, for example, uh, in the start, whenever, for example, we sitting together as a community right now, we have like 7 members online, and we come up with an idea of creating a DApp, that is like a decentralized application. So we 7 or 8 people who have just started or who created the idea first will be having the major control of that product, and what it's going to be looking like, and how is it going to work, what is it going to provide to the user and everything. But for example, if we plan to make it decentralized, and if we plan to make it democratic, so what we are going to do is we are going to give away our powers to the community bank. For example, from these 7 people, we are going to have a core group of 100 people. For example, the first 100 people who join the community are going to have some special benefits or some more voting rights. We can do that. So it's basically, you can say, from decentralized to centralized. So when we start, obviously it's going to be centralized. But in the path of developing the product and everything, we are going to engage the community, and slowly, the community is going to tell us what type of product they want, and which is I think it's a good idea, because the more brains are involved, the more better product we are going to get. And eventually, if we plan that we have to make this application decentralized at the end of the scene, so what we can do is we can decentralize, we can give away all the powers to the community back. So there are some application, they hold the power, the core committee holds the power, the top of the hierarchy, they hold the power, and in some blockchains, they do not have the power. It depends on how they pursue with it. For example, Bitcoin does not have a central authority. They don't have a core committee, something like that. It is totally decentralized. But in case of Ethereum or any other network, it is overall decentralized, but obviously the major decisions are taken by the board, which is like the, I'm forgetting the name. It is an organization with the name of Ethereum something. So that is the organization which basically controls everything. So अभी आपने देखा भी होगा कि इथेरियम के अंदर अभी मेजर कुछ चेंजेस आए हैं एंड दे हैव लाइक changed from proof of work to proof of stake. So this was a major decision which they have to make, and the core committee did the decision based on the regulations across the board. Because what was happening was, like in proof of work, they used to do a lot of computational power was used, because to validate a block, all the participants need to compete, and they all use their computer processors and powers. So a lot of electricity was wasted and a lot of computation was done. So they switched to a system which was much, you can say, faster, which was much, you can say, which used less electricity, and they did not use to compete to find a particular node. So they had their own system in which they select a particular leader, which is going to then set the new block. So there are different models of it, and it's still going on. Things are still moving towards different directions. Like some are going totally decentralized, some are semi-decentralized, and some are totally centralized. But if it is centralized, it is not, completing one of the basic building blocks of Web3, that is decentralized. So eventually they have to go on the decentralized setup. Okay, so what is smart contract? Okay, so smart contract is basically a software, you can say, which runs on blockchains like Ethereum and Solana and Bitcoin as well. But Bitcoin's smart contracts are not that popular. Reason being is there are very big limitations there. You cannot do much there. But in Ethereum, it is like the basis of the smart contracts. All the biggest you can say the blockchain which is using smart contract right now is Ethereum. And basically what it is a piece of software which have all the logics inside. So for example, if I very much like simplify this concept of smart contract, is to just remove the smart and just keep it as a contract. So what is a contract? It's you can say between two parties, it's an agreement, and both the parties have to like abide by that agreement, have to follow the rules of that agreement, and none of the party, if one party backs out from that agreement, the other party is on the loss or something like that. So this is basically the general concept of contract. So for example, we are buying a house, we make a contract for that between the buyer and the seller, and then what we do is we go and register the this contract to the land registry department to make it official. So in the same way, now if we use the smart contract to do the same transaction of a house, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a smart contract which is not going to be like registered on the land registry department, but it is going to be put on the blockchain. So because blockchain is immutable, and like even once the contract is deployed on the blockchain, after 500 years, if someone wants to see that contract, they can always go back and see that. And it is transparent, so like the whole world can see the contract and they can understand what happened between me and Shoaib and what transactions we did. So smart contract is basically, you can say, simply it's a contract but it's on blockchain. So अगर मैं इसको और simplify करूँ तो you can call it रसीदें. You buy anything, you get a receipt. That receipt is a contract sort of a thing that and a proof of thing that you bought something from some shop. So now, if you use smart contracts, you can buy the same thing, but you will be using a smart contract to get those receipts. So any more questions regarding smart contracts, and I'll just move on to the next question. Any questions? Yeah, please go ahead, Samar. एक तो what is smart contracts? I want to know your opinion. Will DeFi disrupt centralized banking system? And if yes, then when? Okay, this is a pretty interesting question. This is a tug of war going on between like the decentralized finance and the regular financial, like central banking system. So if we look at the blockchain, the Bitcoin, and if you just go and find out the genesis block of this Bitcoin, so you will see that this was a competitive technology which started against the banking system. Bitcoin was the first, you can say, digital money. And if we talk about centralized banking systems, it's going to take a lot of time, I guess, because obviously we are not used to all these DeFi things at the moment. It is like uh, difficult for bringing people on board and start using all these different technologies like Bitcoin and everything. So it's going to take some time. Yeah, but things are moving towards the direction where this is going to, you can say, give a very big competition to the central banking systems, because the one very big difference I see is like in terms of general centralized banking system, they can print as much money as they can. So, for example, if the government wants money, what they do is they just write a treasury bill sort of a thing or IOU sort of a thing to that the state bank. For example, government wants 100 billion rupees, 100 billion rupees. So they'll sign an MOU, a treasury bill, and the state bank is going to print that money. So when this money is coming into the system, what is happening is the money in our pockets are getting devalued. सो दैट इज़ वन ऑफ द रीज़न्स हम ये महंगाई देख रहे होते हैं कि जब भी एक्सेस मनी सिस्टम में आता है, जो एक्चुअल मनी हमारी पॉकेट्स में पहले से मौजूद होता है उसकी वैल्यू को वो कम कर देता है. बिकॉज पहले फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम कहें कि सिस्टम में सिर्फ 100 बिलियन रुपीज़ ही थे एंड एवरी वन वॉज लाइक ट्रांजैक्टिंग विद दैट, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन वी हैव अनदर 100 बिलियन रुपीज़ इन द सिस्टम. तो अब क्या हो गया, सिस्टम में 200 बिलियन रुपये आ गए और पहले सिस्टम में 100 बिलियन रुपीज़ था. टेक्निकली ये होना चाहिए कि जो हमारे 100 रुपये की वैल्यू है वो 50 रुपये की रह जानी चाहिए, बिकॉज देयर इज एम्पल सप्लाई ऑफ मनी. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ़ यू आर बाइंग 100 रुपीज़ पर केजी मिल्क और ऑल ऑफ अ सडन ये नई करेंसी मार्केट में लॉन्च हो जाती है, you need more money to buy that same amount of milk. So you will be needing like 150 rupees or 200 rupees to the very max. पूरी की पूरी एग्जैक्ट कैलकुलेशन करने के लिए 100 बिलियन पे 100 बिलियन और ऐड हो गए तो आपकी जो करेंसी की वैल्यू है वो डाउन हो गई. अच्छा, इसी चीज़ को सामने रखते हुए what happened was like Bitcoin has a limited supply. So like if we talk about Bitcoin, there will only be 21 million Bitcoins, no more than that. No one can print a single more Bitcoin than that. So at a certain stage of time, what is going to happen is all the Bitcoins are going to be mined and they are going to be circulating in the system. And there is no way you can print or you can create more Bitcoins. So जब एक चीज़ की लिमिटेशन क्रिएट हो जाती है उसकी फिर वैल्यू बढ़ती है, कम नहीं होती है. अगर हम 21 मिलियन पे इसको लॉक कर दें सो दे विल बी नो मोर बिटकॉइंस एंड इवेंचुअली एक टाइम आएगा जब इसकी वैल्यू बहुत ज़्यादा इंक्रीज हो जाएगी, बिकॉज ओनली सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ पीपल आर गोइंग टू होल्ड दोज करेंसीज. Where in terms of the central banking, they can only just go and print that money. So this is what happened. Yeah, okay, please go ahead.
जी सर सर मेरा सवाल ये था कि अगर फिर हम बिटकॉइन स्टार्ट की बात करें, एडोकॉइन की बात करें, तो अगर उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ाना चाह रहे हैं तो उसके लिए फिर कौन से फैक्टर्स होंगे जिसके थ्रू उसकी वैल्यू बढ़ सकती है, क्योंकि वो लिमिटेड नहीं है।
एक मिनट, सॉरी, किसकी बात करें?
सर एडोकॉइन की बात कर रहा हूँ मैं।
एडा वन।
जी सर, एडोकॉइन
Ada coin is based like जो
या
Cardano.
डॉजकॉइन सर।
Okay, which is like by Cardano.
यस सर।
Okay, I don't know what the max supply is, but they should be having some max supply of that. They cannot be like having like, होता है कुछ करेंसीज ऐसी होती हैं डिजिटल करेंसीज जहाँ पे they don't put cap to the supply, but in that terms it is going to be same as any other currency which is circulating right now, because they can print as much as they want. So this is the case, and let me just check what is the total supply of ADA is. Let me check.
सॉरी सर, मैं डॉजकॉइन की बात कर रहा था, एडा
Okay,
जल्दी से
हाँ,
हम।
Dogecoin, yeah, exactly. मैं वही परेशान हो रहा हूँ because ADA का I don't remember कि
जी
इनकी
सर।
कोई maximum supply है. ADA की है, Doge की I guess नहीं है. Okay, now that is one of the reason Doge की आप देखो ना कि value भी इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं बढ़ रही है. And another thing is like Dogecoin was just a fun coin. That was just a meme coin. So there was no technical advancement to anything to do with technical advancements. जैसे Cardano हो गया, ये Ethereum हो गया, इन्होंने Bitcoin को बहुत बड़े तरीके से अपग्रेड किया है. समझ रहे हैं? लाइक Ethereum पे स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स बहुत इजी हो गए बनाना. फिर दिन Cardano आ गया. Cardano ने क्या डिफरेंस लाया कि जितना भी नंबर ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन हम Ethereum पे कर पा रहे हैं उसके मल्टीपल टाइम्स हम Cardano पे कर पाते हैं, विच इज़ मच चीपर एज वेल. एंड Cardano का जो बैकबोन है, लाइक जो मैनेजमेंट एट द बैक, they are mostly people from science background, or they are like very very learned people. So what I believe, Cardano is going to be a good project of the future. And when we talk about Dogecoin, obviously आप देख रहे हो उसकी प्राइस इतनी ज़्यादा फ्लक्चुएट हो भी नहीं रही है in the market. And one of the reason is that there is an unlimited supply. And just let me check the supply of Dogecoin as well. Just wait. And second thing is that like Dogecoin के साथ एक चीज़ और भी मैं जो देख रहा था, just wait, just let me check the Dogecoin's market supply info. Okay. Yeah, there's no maximum supply. Current circulation supply is somewhere around 132 billion, I guess. So 132 बिलियन की इसकी अभी तक सर्कुलेशन है. And there's no, you can say, maximum supply to it. That's why I think they are burning Dogecoin as well. आपने सुना होगा बहुत सारी न्यूज़ आ रही हैं जहाँ पे बहुत सारे Dogecoin आप बर्न भी कर रहे हैं to get the price stable and get something for the investors. So this is what is happening with that. Okay, what is next? Okay, ji. So Iman Tahir is asking, sir, what are the risks in the DeFi's proliferation? Okay. So I guess there are a lot of risk involved in many things, because like just like any other, you can say, systems where we are using finance and all these things, just like that we will be having some sort of things like that which is going on. But I personally feel कि इतने आराम से इसको कोई भी like हैक नहीं कर सका, because like it is not a single party owing to this. So there are a lot of people who are at the back. The whole community is at the back of DeFi. So I don't think so it's going to do anything like that. And like I think like I personally believe that slowly DeFi's are going to be the mainstream, and the big financial banks or these big financial systems are going to be on the sidelines. I hope this happens, because like जो terms and conditions लोग set करते हैं in the conventional banking systems, they are very rigid for the general people, and they also try to like do some favoritism because it is based on people, and like if the management is greedy or are foul players, they can always use that for their own benefit. And in terms of like you can say the DeFi's, if it's like the user, if it's user friendly and things are on the positive side, I think it's going to go popular on a very rapid space because people are getting in, people are earning good amount from that because they are getting like good easy loans. They don't have to show their faces and everything. They don't have to like give answers to every Tom, Dick, and Harry to get the loan approved or all the other services they are providing. So I think this is going to be like the future of the economic cycle. I hope this is clear. Where is Iman? I think she left. I think. Okay, what are the prerequisites to work on smart contract development or to be a smart contract developer? Okay, so prerequisite is like you need to have some form of basic programming skills, and I think you guys really have that. Only thing is you need to learn some of these languages like Solidity and Rust, and the best place to learn Solidity is like I personally feel like you go to online YouTube and you will find many resources which where they are teaching the Solidity language. Plus, you can go for Rust language. Golang is also one of the language which is going to be used. So these are the languages which are used to create the smart contracts. And before that, like depends like if it is like private blockchains, Hyperledger is the place where you can create the blockchains for the corporates. Like that is a private blockchain network because there are two types of blockchain. One is like public blockchain, which is like Ethereum and Solana and Rust and ADA and everything. The other is like the private blockchain, which the companies are going to use. Because what is happening is in companies, in big companies, there is a big flow of information, and what happens is normally people are creating those information and data and everything, and they are presenting it through a system which is not you can say digital or online. So there's a loss of data in that. If the same data goes through the blockchain, which is immutable, which cannot be changed and everything like that, so it's going to maintain a record which is going to be there forever. Plus the data is going to be more valuable and perfect because if we use IoT devices connected to that, for example, in supply chain management, if we use those Internet of Things IoT devices, what's going to happen is that the system, the machines are going to collect the data, and which is going to help everyone that the data is like perfect because अगर कोई आदमी डालता है डेटा कहीं पे फॉर एग्जांपल कोई machineries लगी हुई हैं, and they have to like count the products at the end of the day, and they have to like show the data to the management, and somehow they just play some fouls and they don't give you the accurate data. Eventually the management is not going to have the accurate information, which is going to lead to bad decisions. But if the same data is conveyed through a device which is always going to be perfect, so they'll be getting a perfect data, and it is going to help them form or make proper decisions. So that is the thing कि ब्लॉकचेन जो है वो सिर्फ डिफाइस पे नहीं, अब बाकी बहुत सारी इंडस्ट्रीज़ को डिसरप्ट कर रहा है. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर हम सिर्फ दुबई में इसको देखें तो दुबई में दे आर स्टार्टिंग अ स्मार्ट सिटी which is totally based on blockchain. So Dubai is like very much open to the new technologies. Every time we see that, and this time also like last month भी दो चार बड़ी अच्छी मेटावर्स के ऊपर ब्लॉकचेन के ऊपर इवेंट्स वहाँ स्टार्ट हुए थे और बहुत अच्छे ऑर्गेनाइज हुए. and it's like every month they're like organizing new exhibitions on blockchain or things like that. So eventually, uh, in larger context, in a larger perspective, I personally feel it's going to be a revolutionizing technology, and it's going to change the way we use the internet as a whole. So there is no, like, if you are tech savvy and you are developing, you are learning C sharp, you are learning React, you are learning JS and everything. I don't think so it's going to be difficult for you to understand Solidity or to build smart contracts. The main thing is you should be getting the basic idea of smart contracts first before you start developing the smart contracts, because then it's going to be much easier for you to understand what you are actually doing. So there are like different types of smart contracts built. For example, if I just let me open a window first. Just wait, let me open a window and Remix. I'll just open the Remix IDE. I'll just share you that tab. Just wait. Okay, guys, can you see my screen? Okay, for example, if we just come here to the Remix IDE and okay, we just go to the IDE directly. Stop presenting, and I'll be presenting again. Okay, guys, can you see my screen? Okay, I think it's taking some time to load. In the meantime, let this open. Let this open. So this basically deploys and runs the transaction in the blockchain. This is the Remix IDE. Okay, I hope it starts. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the recording, we are like doing the recording on YouTube. Most probably you will get everything on YouTube. This is the first time I'm doing the live stream on YouTube. I don't know if it's going well or not. I don't know. I'll check everything after we finish the this weekly meetup. So, okay, we have this Remix IDE. For example, we're talking about smart contracts. So, this is a default workspace. These are the built-in contracts which we already have. So, we have a contract by the name of storage.sol. SOL is the Solidity extension, owner.sol, and ballot.sol. Then we have this test.sol, and in the script we have these TS or web3.ts or web3.js files. We normally have all these things here. So for example, if we go to the storage.sol, so this is basically a smart contract, okay, and the contract name is storage. So what this contract is going to do is this is just going to uh, take this int of 256 numbers, and what it's going to do is it is going to change, just going to store some number to it. So for example, these are some, like, this is the Solidity compiler. So now we have opened this file storage.sol, and I just like try to compile it. Let's see the first time. Okay, So if it's compiled perfectly, it's going to show me this green sign button. That means it is compiled. Now we can do is like if you want to publish on the IPFS and everything, you can do that, or you can just deploy the contract. You can deploy the contract directly. So what Remix do is it provides you with all these virtual machines. Okay, virtual machine London, Berlin, injecting Hard Hat and Ganache and all these other softwares are used to create these dApps and smart contracts. For example, for today, we're just going to keep it here. And they provide us with different accounts, different wallets with 100 ethers for free. So these are test ethers. We can test that out. So for example, as we just this is like storage smart contract, so we can store a number into it. So right now I'm just going to deploy this, and see this is showing 3 million gas limit. This is the 3 million Y gas limit. Y is basically the denomination of ether, the smaller denomination. So now we are going to deploy this. Let's see. Okay, when we are deploying this, so we have this right sign. This means smart contract has been deployed successfully. Now what happens is we have to see if we have any. Yeah, this is the place. The contract has been deployed. What we have to do is we have to store a number. Okay, so for example I store 500, and what happened is I press this button, store. See again, this is stored the number. ओके जो मैंने नंबर यहाँ डाला 500, इन्होंने अपने ब्लॉकचेन में ये स्टोर कर लिया है. नाउ फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई वांट टू रिट्रीव, let me see what is happening. Okay, see it is showing us that UN 256 is now 500. तो हमने अभी अभी इस पे एक नंबर एलोकेट किया which stored that value into that 256 UN 256. So this is just like example of how you can create different smart contracts. So we have like if you want to change the ownership, so this is a pre-built smart contract for ownership where you can change the owner of an NFT or any digital asset in this. And then this is the ballot, is like the smart contract for doing the voting and everything. So all the participants can vote, and this is like a very big smart contract. You can go through this when you open the Remix IDE. So just I have to give you a glimpse of like what a developer can do inside this. And this is like something which is very big going on at the moment. These smart contracts are really going to change the way we use the internet, because everything is going to be automated. We don't need any human interaction in that, because like if we want people doing the transactions, so there are chances that they can go and corrupt the system or anything like that. But if we do the same thing via a smart contract, we will not be having any person doing it. Rather, the system is going to do it by themselves. So the system does not have any greed. इसको भूख भी नहीं लगती है हमारे सिस्टम को, तो ऑब्वियसली देयर इज नो चांस कि ये कोई हैंकी पैंकी इसमें करे. ठीक है जी, एनी मोर क्वेश्चंस? Guys, what's happening? Okay, so I have shared like a lot of articles on the group, और I just want to know कौन कौन जो है वो जिसके पास थोड़ा टाइम है तो वो पढ़ भी रहा है वहाँ पे. Okay, any further questions? Yeah, that's good. Please do try to learn, and it's like it's not difficult at all. The only thing is whenever we start anything new, we take time to grasp to get the hold of everything, because the environment is new and all these things are new, so it takes time. But that's why we have created this community, so that we can learn together. So the more you're going to dive deep into it, going into the rabbit holes, trying to figure things out, the more you're going to learn. Yes, Shoaib. So I think should we end the session? End the meeting today? I think we should end the meeting for now, and we'll be having a meeting in the next week. So come up with some new questions for the next week, and we are going to answer that, and we are going to like together do the research and everything. And thanks everyone for joining in. Summer, Faria, Iman, Shoaib, Akib, and inshallah we'll be meeting next week. Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Take care.